Hi, vibration, sweet baby. So, right off the bat, I just want to say we have so much groovy symbolism, numerology, and magic infused in this reading. And I am so excited to share with you some messages that have been coming through for this new moon. Now, it's probably the new moon energy within a couple of days of the new moon when you're reading this. All of my readings are timeless, so if you find yourself drawn to a reading and it's not that particular lunar energy, that's fine. There's probably something in there that's still relevant and resonant for you, and your spirit team guided you there for a reason, and that is up for you to discern. But this is about the new moon energy coming up here for the end of October. Now, I am doing a little bit of foresight work because I will be traveling at that time, and I most certainly will not be able to be pulling cards in time to do a reading, get the video up and all of that while I'm on the road. So I am doing some foresight work here. But I have a lot of energy that's like been showing up, a lot of insights I'm really excited to share with you. And yes, it's a lot of very strong, beautiful, powerful energy with this lunar energy. And down at the bottom of the deck right here immediately says moon. So, usually with the full moon is when people say that they have like a heightened intuition, but this particular new moon, I feel like, is a really powerful time to use your intuition, to connect with things that make you feel like you're very tapped in, tuned in, turned on to spirit. And I am really strongly, I knew that number in particular was going to show up again because it's already shown up. This is that time for using your intuition, connecting with your intuitive energy. Travel may be significant. I know I'm traveling, but there might be conversations around travel or a trip, conversations about a trip during this new moon. Okay, interesting. And like I said, like the full moon is very much a time usually for heightened intuition and reflection, but that's kind of the energy that I'm seeing here with this new moon. Is like you've been reflecting and you've been thinking about some very specific things that I feel like either brought you clarity or you've been having some clarity around some very specific things. And okay, Spirit says stop shuffling. Okay, so yes, there's already things I need to share with you. So you've been getting a lot of clarity around things. We've got Saturn going direct here soon. We've got Pluto doing its thing. We've got some really beautiful transits. We've also got Chiron and the North Node kind of squaring off. Are they squaring off? I think they're squaring off, or they're directly across from each other. I'm sorry, friends. I have so much going on in my brain as it is. Then you throw all these astrological transits at me, and I'm like, what? But anyway, and if that's kind of you as well, where you're like, what are these astrology terms? It sounds like you're speaking algebra or something at me. Just know that the more you listen along, the more it'll kind of make sense. But you don't have to be like super into astrology for this to apply to you. It certainly is just a cosmic energy that's going to influence everybody's life. So if you can be in tune with it, great, work with that and use that. You don't have to necessarily know it to a science. So here's what I'm feeling is that this new moon, with all of the transits that are going on, you're feeling a lot of clarity, and you're probably also feeling a lot of clarity around like your soul's purpose and what you're meant to do here. And this might have been brought up through some triggers and some things that were shown up over the last couple of weeks or even the last month. I've been referencing the 9/9 portal. I think that that's very relevant, even though it's not really talked about so much with astrology. I think that those are very much impactful and influential on one another. We had a lot of Saturn, a lot of, other influences astrologically to kind of help us on this like lesson of what all of these instances were about. But the 9-9 portal was a kind of a catalyst portal, I want to say, in closing some things out, because then quickly what followed up, or right before, like right around that time, was the Hunter full moon, which was like, we're done with these specific things, we are finishing these cycles, we are done with this. And it may have triggered up something to really show you like, yeah, no more of that, I'm not into that, and I don't like it, it's not for me. And so with that 9-9 portal and all of those influences and those triggers, it might have shown you actually a little bit of direction and purpose, because that's what's beautiful about triggers, is that they are actually really good guiding lights of what you don't want, or past experiences that you need to understand and work through. Our triggers are actually really great teachers. I'm not going to go too far into that because I think I've gone into it before, but it's also something I talk about in my program, and there's a lot of information in my coaching world and all of that kind of stuff about that. And I'm going to soon have a link to share all of my coaching resources and all of that very soon. I've been working very diligently to update and rebrand my websites and all that stuff, so you can actually access my coaching materials by the end of this month. So there you go, hint hint as to what my new moon projects and everything have been about, and where I was really gaining my clarity and what I needed to refocus on and start realigning with some of my other purposes, right? Because I have a lot of passion and a lot of purpose in creating art, in posing, in concept designs, creative direction, and bringing amazing photo shoots to life. Like, that's been my life and my world for the last 3, 4, almost 5 years. But in that time, I also was doing coaching work that was really, really important to me and really mattered to me on a soul level as well. And just with the universal laws, right? The God-governed laws, right? We have state laws, we have, different countries and how they have their government outline, but we're talking like divine laws, the laws of the divine, right? The way that the universe was governed. Okay, that's what I like to talk about. Okay. No, just kidding. I am very interested in what's going on politically, but I am just not qualified to speak on them. So, let's focus on the cosmos, shall we? So, when it comes to these laws of the universe, like, I understand that it really matters, like, how I am balancing my energy, pouring my energy into things, and what things I can give 100% of my focus on and what things I need to pull away from. And something I learned along that process is that we never stop fully doing anything that's meant for us in our soul's calling. And it's also really okay. Yes, exactly. Peace and harmony. And it's fluid. And it's like dripping and oozing. And it's like yes, surrender to your process and trust your process. Surrender to your journey. Trust that you can pull your energy away from something. And if it's meant for you, it will. That's a big thing, friends, is like whatever's meant for you will always be for you. It cannot just be taken from you. It will never leave your path. And there's this feeling, this underlying feeling of trust and serenity and feeling like something is still for you. Just because you pulled your energy away from it for a while, it's still for you. Okay, very important message that was coming through is 737. Okay, those numbers in particular, 737. Okay, and this was like really deep and really powerful, but I knew that I needed to speak it. I knew that somebody needed to hear it. So I'm not going to judge myself on it. I'm just going to say it. if one of those things that you pulled your energy away from was spirit, was the divine, was your religious practices, was your belief system, this was a very clear message that I need you to hear. The divine is not mad at you. You're still worth it. You're still worth your purpose. You're still worth the effort to go for it. You're still deserving of these things. If you pulled away your energy, or let's just say you misstepped on your path, as we all do. Only God can judge, right? Like, let's be for real, friends. Like, nobody makes it out unscathed. We've all got skeletons in our closet, crosses to bear. We've all got our shadows. I see how this is tying together. Oh, Spirit, I love, love, love this message. Okay, so when we pull our energy away, or we took a misstep on our journey, please trust and know that the divine has not left you. The divine is not mad at you. I get this feeling that sometimes when you're close to spirit, or when you're close to a blessing or whatever, it's not even self-sabotage. Like, you're consciously doing this thing of like, but I'm just gonna say it. You're being overly cautious right now about something, and you're like, I fucked up. Like, I fucked up. And you're trying to... It's not that you fucked up. Stop that. That's what I hear, is like, stop that. Stop telling yourself that story. Yeah, planes. Planes are important. Interesting. You're reflecting about something. You're reflecting about your harmony, the peace that you had to offer and have to offer the world. Because this is the thing, is you're reflecting too hard. Ooh, baby. Oh, my love. You're reflecting too hard on yourself. You are being too hard on yourself. You are looking back and calling yourself things. Yes, you're being way too cautious now. Holy moly, this message is like so real. Okay. You might be comparing yourself to somebody who's a Taurus, a Virgo, a Capricorn, or also the Virgo energy of the last month may have felt really heavy and significant on you. Just threw the cards. The energy of sabotage is significant. You may have learned sabotaging behaviors from a person who's an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. You may have also just felt like there was that energy in the mix that felt like a sabotage to something. Or during Virgo, I'm like, or maybe all of the above, right? But like during Virgo season, there is the Icarus symbolism. It's like pushing a rock up a hill. Like the weight of a situation just became really heavy. The reality, like you asked for clarity, you asked for clear seeing, and then you got it. And now you're reflecting too hard, and you're almost like trying to go back to the clouded way of viewing things to like avoid the reality of the situation. But here it is, okay? You're forgiven. You are forgiven. You are loved, and you are blessed and highly favored. You're expecting some... Here's the thing. Okay. attending somebody's wedding might be significant for somebody. Either you're reflecting, yeah, you're definitely reflecting on a wedding, or you're reflecting on a trip, or both. You're just looking backwards a lot, which is why it really gives full moon energy. But I'm going to tell you right now that you are looking back too harshly. And you're so used to maybe disillusionment, or maybe keeping your head in the clouds, keeping yourself distracted. Sorry, headphone users, I just totally messed with my mic. That now that you have the clear seeing, you're almost like, how do I go back to like some form of disillusionment? And the way that you're doing it is by being way too hard on yourself, thinking that you're not doing enough, being overly cautious, looking like just talking badly to yourself. I literally see you like looking in the mirror and just being frustrated or nitpicking or whatever. And Spirit is saying to stop that. Like, you are forgiven. You need to continue to do those self-love practices, continue to come back to that self-worth and self-love that you've been working very hard on. I know, collective, for a fact that you are the collective, yes, that has been working on that. And it almost feels like, because you understand that you have shadow traits and you are self-aware and you have clear seeing, that the reality of your shadow, it's almost like don't let, okay, here's where we have to, okay, here's what the message is. Instead of a dichotomy mindset, instead of thinking, excuse me, yes, please, please, please trust in your intuition. Trust in the divine insights and the divine guidance that is coming your way through this new moon. This is a really important time for you to be picking up the pieces on what you want to be calling into life. You're about to plant seeds. Okay, friends? This is about to be a planting seeds. I know you're like, wait, in the fall? We're planting seeds in the fall? What you're doing is you are accumulating. You just had your beautiful harvest. We had the harvest moon. We realized that life is coming through its cycles and we're closing out chapters. Things are coming to an end. We stocked up. We took stock. We had abundance, right? Just going back through what our collective has been doing in the last couple months. What we also did is, when we were enjoying our harvest, right? Mabon, like we were looking at the fruits of our labor and enjoying all of that. And we're about to still do more of that as we go through the winter seasons. And we have these beautiful other festivities and things that we can celebrate amongst others. And we're going to get into all of that around the 11/11 portal, all of that, right? But that's going to all be really based on the seeds that we take with us. So we have all of our harvest. Now, I want you to think, like, what would be the most fruitful, abundant thing to do with that harvest? Yes, we could just demolish it. We could just enjoy it. We can eat it. Yum, 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 yum. Delicious. Okay, great. Now, the smart and wise farmer would make sure to take a lot of the seeds of what, even if you didn't have a huge harvest, even if your harvest was very small, and that's okay. If that's your truth, that's totally fine. Because here's what's beautiful, is that you can take the seeds of what you grew and you can plant those and have twice the harvest next year. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see where I'm going with this? So it's important for you to really be in this space that you're in now of reflecting, of course, just a little bit more lovingly. And yes, exactly. Find out more information. You're going to gather some more inspiration, but what I see is like more insights and more inspiration. it's not so much information, it's more inspiration. Or you're going to find out information that motivates you or moves you and tells you how to act. So here's what I'm seeing is that you need to allow yourself to, don't overwork this reflecting process. Don't overlook the things that you want to change, how you want to improve. Like, if that's the kind of energy you're focused on, which I know a lot of people do around the winter time, it's like, okay, what, like, how do I get even like better, more macho, more masculine, more like, no. I have a lot of masculine people who listen to these audios, so that's funny that that's the energy that's coming through right now and who's probably listening. Don't worry about that. Follow your joy. That's always going to be my message, because right now we're trying to stay authentic and heart-led and soul-led, and we as a collective are about to do some major soul star energy work. And with that, you need an open heart. You need a really big, beautiful, juicy, open heart that's vulnerable. And the way to do that is to follow your bliss, to stay following your joy and stay lit up by enjoying yourself and having gratitude for joyous moments in your life. Okay, so this new moon took us from a place of reflecting back with this clear vision, this clear seeing. That, my friends, means that what you've done over the past couple months and probably over the last year, because I think, yeah, this is the collective that I was speaking to almost a year ago, just shy of a year ago, where I was like, ooh, some third eye stuff is happening here. And you didn't realize that through all of the other work you were doing to be balanced and harmonious and heart-centered, etc., it was opening you up for clear vision. It was opening and moving your energy upward to clear vision. And actually what you were probably doing was closing down an overactive headspace and balancing out the energies, moving yourself downward, grounding yourself, centering yourself, and just balancing out the flow of literally energetic movement in your being. And the third eye is the center of clear seeing. It's seeing the intuitive symbolism and guidance, as well as seeing the very practical real world in front of you. It is being in harmonious balance with both. And what I'm really feeling is that you're experiencing maybe some of the weight and heaviness of the gift. Okay, and if feeling this into some, okay, let's talk. So it's scary sometimes. Let's just keep it a buck. Sometimes it's overwhelming to have clear vision. That's why a lot of people close that down, especially as children. If we had very clear seeing, clear vision, and this could have been like ideas, imagination, like all of that. It can also be very scary. Like, I don't want to poke fun at it in any way. I'm not trying to diminish it for anybody in any way, but it's like that same child that can be so divinely in tune and so inspired and imaginative. When they lay down at night, they can also have that active imagination that tells them that there's something underneath their bed, or there's an oogly boogly in the closet, right? Like, there's just as much imagination and activity happening for the child for all of their fears and insecurities and worries and yada yada yada, right? And that's the child lens. So now if you think about like the adult lens of what that's like, it's like you, as you grew up, you probably closed a lot of that down, but at the same time, you still had all of that inspiration and imagination and insightful energy that showed up in you. And when you lay your head down at night, you know, if you're not actively working to embrace those parts of you, to balance your energies, to be open to clear seeing, to truly, I don't know why this is coming up, but to burn the witch is to admit that magic is real. Yes. To burn the witch is to admit that magic is real. You cannot persecute, prosecute, or punish the fucking witch without, in the very same hand, admitting that that magic is real? Because if it's not, why is she burning? Why is she the scapegoat? Why is she the target? Why is she... Exactly. That magic is real. And you can... I know there's a witch wound for a lot of people, and I feel it in this collective. I think that there is some people in the collective who are like, I don't think of myself as a witch, but you think of yourself as a manifester, a healer. You think about yourself as a leader. Okay, do whatever you gotta do, call yourself whatever you gotta call yourself, but you're still working magic. You are still working with the cosmic energies. Let me tell you something also. The witch is not the belief system. Witchcraft is not a belief system, it is a practice. So you can believe whatever you want to believe and still practice witchcraft knowingly or unknowingly, baby. So like, you can, and I'm calling witchcraft, what I mean by that is an umbrella term of using your intuition, your intention, and your resources, both mental, physical, and spiritual, to call something to life. And so it is. To create something, to alchemize something, to transmute something, right? If we go with the esoteric words, right? If you are trying to make something into something else, if you're trying to make yourself into something else, if you're trying to create or invent something, a lot of this requires the basic principles of witchcraft. Crafting. You're crafting something. Forget the witch. You're crafting. This is your craft, your process, your medium. Yes. And you're seeing that some of the things you feared, or some of the things you were told to fear, right? You cannot burn the witch without admitting that magic is real. So some of the things that you were told to shame that may have actually existed within you are things that contribute to your craft, things that add to your mediumship, not shift, but this is a shift in thinking. You have to shift your way of thinking about what it means to be magic, what it means to work with the energies of your life. It is a very divine practice. And once you let your witch wound and you heal those triggers, whatever those triggers are, some of you, actually, this might be your Chiron. So Chiron is the asteroid, planet? Chiron is an asteroid, right? I don't know, but we have bee medicine coming up. So somebody in this hive, let me know. What is Chiron? Is it an asteroid or is it a planet? It's definitely not a planet. Scratch that. What is it though? It is the symbolism of the wounded healer, right? So wounded healer can be somebody who's in their shadow and like constantly trying to fix other people to avoid what they need fixing in themselves. That's the shadow version of the wounded healer. And then there's the other version of the wounded healer where it is somebody who has tended to their wounded parts, alchemized them, brought them to life, and now teaches others in that path. And so I think that that's a really interesting way to look at the shadow and light of Chiron, the wounded healer. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I think for some of you, your wounded healer, your Chiron is something about like you want to heal or you want to be in your magic, but you're being shamed. And I'd be very interested to hear how this applies to you and for you. But for the rest of you, you know, there might just be some kind of trigger around like thinking of yourself as someone who can heal, who does have magic, who does have an ability to do beautiful and outrageously phenomenal things. And if you listen to musicians, you listen to artists, you listen to iconic figures, they'll talk about all types of different practices that they do, or their mediums, or their craft, because we each have this in us and it shows up in its own individualistic, beautiful way. Now is your time to figure out what that is for you. But you have to be able to embrace this very beautiful gift of clear seeing that you have opened up and activated. And I will say that it's freaky sometimes. It is freaky, and it sometimes feels like, how is that real? We want to chalk it up to coincidences, but I don't believe in coincidences. Coincidences aren't real. What I would subscribe to is synchronicity. So it is really not easy sometimes to have clear vision, and it really depends on who you, and I talked about this in the past. Yes, this is probably the same collective. It's like you could be around people and have this clear vision, and they would call you crazy. They'll be like, that's wild, why would you even think like that, where did that come from, so on and so forth. But you have that same experience with people who are also in their truth, who are also opened up to their divine essence, who are in connection with source, and they're like, oh my God, that's such a beautiful message, or oh my God, I had a moment like that, or they experience it along with you, and that's even more powerful and so beautiful. To share spiritual experiences with another person is so, ooh, I just got like the most beautiful light energy, like all through my hands and up my arms and into my heart space, and like, yes, ooh, yes. And I feel like you are praying for that. That's something that you pray, that is something you're praying for as of recently. It might be something that you gain clarity upon, is like you need someone who can match you in that vibration. It's like, I need somebody who can match my frequency. Oh, so let's bring this back. So you have clear seeing. That can be freaky, and especially as we are going through this 1111 portal and into the 1212 portal, where things are even going to expand past that. Like, there's going to be a lot of instances where you're going to have synchronicities, you're going to have symbolisms. The divine is going to be speaking directly to you. Just a lot of moments that might be like, whoa, like is this real life? And like, just moments like that, okay? And I'm being urged to advise you, like, not to close that down. And I think that there's going to be a lot of experiences, 111, where you're going to be asked to be a leader in this way, to be a leader of faith, by faith. Like, you and your ability to see things maybe before they happen, or your ability to feel into a situation, or your ability to just be like, you know what, I put it in God's hands, or, you know, I leave it up to the divine, or like, I trust the universe with this. That is going to be what makes a shift in your life and in the lives of others, and might be actually directly related to your purpose. Whatever you're asking for clarity around right now is really a beautiful time for you to trust in your clear seeing and the messages and the symbols and all of that shows up. And here's the thing, is that sometimes the natural mysticism of life looks a little spooky, okay? And when we look into the history of, you know, All Hallows Eve, or Dia de los Muertos, right? Or like, just if we look into the history of anything, really, you get to a point where shit's a little spooky. You take the electricity out of the equation, and you've got candlelit torches, everything becomes a little spooky. I don't care who you are. So when we go back far enough in history, and in the etymology of anything, shit gets primal, shit gets weird, son, okay? And I like it, and I'm here for it. But that doesn't make it any less divine. In fact, something about embracing that like void, kind of spooky energy makes it even that much more delicious. Because here's why. the mysticism of life, intuition, the seeing beyond the veil is all inherently feminine. And feminine is what? The dark, the yin, right? So we've been bringing things to light. We've been asking for clarity, but there's this real need to go deep, to go dark, to really get connected to the beautiful reality of life being magic and, oops, again, sorry, headphone users, a little mystical, a little woo-woo, a little spooky. But fear not. Be not afraid, babe. I've been loving saying that, like, truly, because, like, some of the most divine things in life are scary at first. Things that we have to face for the first time. New chapters in life that are brand fucking spanking new. We've got no experience. Nobody showed us the ropes or whatever. And that's scary to our bodies, to our minds, to our systems. But it doesn't make it any less divine. And when we take this dichotomy mindset out of the equation, the dark and light, and we stop contributing it with our own subjective mind of that's evil and that's good, or that's heaven and that's hell, and you start seeing it as all one experience, all of one thing. We all come from the same place. We all are one. We are all spiritual beings from the same Alpha Omega, if you will. Right? I keep talking about this beautiful idea of like we're all made of stardust. We're all made of it, of everything, of all of it. When we take out this like very split mindset, we can come back to this place of forgiveness and acceptance and love within ourselves and with others, right? Maybe you've needed to discern to put yourself in better, safer situations. I'm never going to tell you not to do that. Evil eye is significant. It's very significant. I got a clear image in my mind's eye of an evil eye. And so it might have been to strengthen your intuition, to be able to discern, okay, this person, I need to pull my energy back from this, or this situation, like, I feel safe to open up to, etc., etc. But it can also put you in a place of being able to see in almost like a black and white thinking, of just thinking like, okay, that's good, that's bad. This person's good, this person's bad. There's layers to this. You can look at a person and say, I don't think that this person's a bad person. I think this person has made horrible choices in life because of this, and that, the way they were raised, something that happened to them, the way that their neurochemistry is, whatever the reason is. I don't want to put myself near them, right? Like, two things can be true. I don't think this person is necessarily a bad person, but I don't need to put myself in close proximity because I can be understanding to who they are, to their situation, where they're coming from, but I don't align with their values. But I don't have room for that energy at my table. So just because you're not seeing things like that's a bad person means that you have to welcome them into your energy. No. It's this idea, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because when you go too far down that mindset of like, that's a bad person, that's a good person, you also kind of put that onto yourself, and you harshly view yourself. You're harshly looking in the mirror, harshly looking at your reflection, of this, I'm a bad person, or I haven't always done things the best way, or I didn't come from my heart, or I am not soul-led, or this business and this job that I'm doing, it's not bettering humanity, and that makes me like, no. Release those judgment, release that dichotomy thinking, and start opening up to that same mindset within yourself of like, I didn't handle this the best way, or I can learn from this experience, and so on and so forth. I don't agree with the choices I've made in the past. I don't align with the values that I did in the past. That doesn't mean that I, as who I am and here and now, am a bad person. And again, use your discernment when it comes to other people, but you are having clear seeing, and this doesn't just happen externally, but it's happening internally for you as well. 1111 is showing up to remind you to have wishful thinking and whimsical thinking, and realize that you are the magician in your life. If you want to trust yourself, yes, trusting in yourself is really important. You're having a divine union within yourself and within your own energy at this current present. You're no longer, there's something about the energy of being avoidant. You're no longer avoiding these things within you, potentially, that have caused you to, I just want to say that you're no longer avoiding your gift of clear seeing. You're no longer avoiding the reality of your life and your true nature. You're seeing things for what they are. You're seeing, you have this beautiful fresh clarity, this fresh vision, and you might hear people say the phrase like, it's a blessing and a curse, but trust me when I tell you that it's just the way it is, right? There is no good and bad. There is no blessing, lesson, curse, whatever you want to call it. It's just the way it is. It's just your path. It is just your experience, and you can do with it what you will. You can let it be a blessing. You can let it be a lesson, and you can let it be a curse too. Whatever, it's your free will, right? But you have to not be looking at yourself as such a black and white, like, that's funny for me at least, but like good or bad type of thing. Like, it has to be I'm a person, I am human, I've made mistakes, I've grown, I've changed, and I will continue to do all of those things. And I trust and allow myself to believe that I am worthy and love and light and whole and purposeful and important along the entire process, along the entire journey, as is each person. But that does not mean we need to have them in close proximity. Yes, very close proximity. 111 is very significant. Okay, and so my other message is like something about feeling like a bit of a misfit, or liking the taboo, or being drawn or having an inclination towards people who are into like some interesting, unique, not unconventional things. And this doesn't, again, just because people are drawn to those things does not make them a bad person. Everything comes down to intention, integrity, morale, and it is a minute by minute thing. People can only be exactly as they are in the present moment, and that is who we have to look at. That is who we have to speak to. And when people make choices in the current present, in the present situation, that are harmful, malicious, or unkind, or just hurtful, or ignorant, or whatever, that's the behavior you have to address. Okay? And if people are trying to work on themselves, or taking accountability, or realizing that they're flawed and owning it, because that's all anyone can do. There is no perfect. There is no done. There is no masterpiece. We're all work in progress. And it's okay for you to be drawn to people who are also in that way, or people who are like, hey, I know I'm like this, but I am still a good fucking person. I know we're not using the good and bad, but like, I treat people well. Like, I don't take from people for my own selfish gain. I don't lie. I don't manipulate. I don't, whatever. And again, if you're somebody who's made these choices in the past, you need to start thinking about who you want to see, your clear vision, do the mirror work. Not the mirror work that you've been doing where you're sitting in front of the mirror. I know this is a long reading, but this is very important, like, energy that I was feeling into. And I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't missed a beat. Like, these are messages that have been, like, fluidly coming through since this morning. 11:11 again. This person in the mirror that you have been hating on is the person that needs to make shit happen. That's the person who you need to be supporting, encouraging, telling is beautiful, telling is worthy, telling is important and meaningful and has purpose. You need to be doing that in the mirror. And I actually started doing a new mirror work practice. I share a lot of mirror work practices and all of that in my coaching program that's coming out soon, in my coaching community that's going to be available soon. And I highly recommend, if that's the kind of work you want to do, to follow along when I do share all of that. But in the meantime, when you look in the mirror, this is really important, you need to start paying attention to the ways that you're looking at yourself, the things you're saying about yourself in your mind or even out loud, whatever it is. It's time for you to be really reminding yourself that it's okay to have made choices in the past, or you didn't like the way that you treated your body in the past, or whatever it is, and let it go. Let go and let God is the symbol that came out. It's like, enough talking to yourself that way, enough feeling like enough. Okay, it's time to do different kind of mirror work and telling yourself all those beautiful things, and also accepting yourself, accepting where you're at now, that you do have flaws, that there's things you're still working on, accepting that there's parts of you that might not ever change. This is so funny. Some of you, including myself, may need to start moving slower, move with more intention. And I mean physically, not even your like moral intent. I mean, slow your motions down. Know where you're about to put your hand before you put your hand somewhere. Like, your body awareness is also going to strengthen as well. And this is really because of the whole power of intention. Because I had this whole experience the other day where I like put something down and it just like wasn't balanced and it just like flopped, and then I had to like scramble and like try to catch it, and I used my reflexes, and I was by myself. Not really anything to be embarrassed about, but I do it so much that I was like, am I always forever going to be this girl who is like flinching to try to like catch something that I almost dropped? Because that's not cute. And there was just like this moment of realization of like, if I don't start moving with a little more intention, I'm forever gonna just give off this clumsy ass vibe, and I don't know if I want to subscribe to that anymore. So moving with intention, moving with clarity. And this is like bringing it from the spiritual and mental into the physical. Okay, so that might be a good practice for you as well. But yes, this is the new moon for you to accept that you are flawed, to accept that you have shadow traits, but you trust in your shadow traits as parts of yourself that are worthy and deserving of love. You just haven't figured out how to use them for your greatest good yet. And you're accepting that, you know, there are some people in your life who maybe you expected, yes, here's that message. Maybe you expected perfection from before you realized that perfection was not anything that anyone ever on earth will ever attain. And before you accepted yourself for that same exact fact, because you were judging other people, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it for what it is, projecting your own lack of perfection, projecting your own wanting and needing perfection. And you have done this beautiful inner work, and I'm gonna say that this was probably something that you subscribed to in your mind a long time ago, but you did this work to be like, you know what, I am flawed, I'm not perfect, and therefore I can't expect perfection from anybody else either. My stomach is growling. It's time for me to go have lunch, and I'm gonna wrap this up. So once you really accepted that, you also had to realize that you don't have to just accept completely messy, boundaryless, harmful energy in your life either. And you found this beautiful middle ground, this sweet spot of being like, actually, I fuck with people who are work in progress, who are into some weird shit, who are into the taboo, who like doing interesting, unique things, because they are not so concerned about what other people think and these ideas of perfection, because that is an illusion, and most of the time, people who are concerned with the idea of perfection are really farthest from it, because they're just so focused on something that's not based in balance, not based in center. Being your truest self is knowing that you're always going to be an evolving, growing, learning person. And with this new moon, I feel like you're allowing and receiving community that's not what you necessarily had always envisioned for yourself. Again, this idea of clear seeing. It's not about the visual, and maybe that's kind of like the aesthetic that you thought about with community, but right now you're like, actually, I just really want to be around people who do unique and inspiring things, even if they're not perfect, even if they say silly things, even if sometimes they snort when they laugh, or whatever it is. Like, I just feel you softening and embracing your like own individuality, and like because of that, you're receiving and calling in this community that is also like very human and very distinct and very dynamic. It's giving Hunger Games, like the Capitol energy. I know that that's like not the vibe, but like the look, the whole, you know what I mean? Like eccentric, one of a kind, like star power people, like people who are unique and in their own individuality, because you're redefining what you want and what success looks like to you. And I'm seeing that includes a group, a community of people who are also successful, and people who did it by honing in on their craft, honing in on their individuality, their star power, what actually matters to them, what things they stand for, what things they ride for. Like they might be like, they might sleep in until like an unreasonable hour in your mind, but when they step out on the scene, or they step onto set, or whatever they do, they knock it out of the park, honey. Like, they are not fucking around, and it is their practice, and that is their craft, and it works for them. It doesn't work for you, but you love being around them, and you love that energy, and you're inspired by them. And that's exactly what I'm feeling like you're receiving, and part of what you're calling in. And I do say part because I feel like you have a lot of beautiful visions and clear seeing and insight of what you want to call in. This is the new moon to do the vision boards, to do the visualizations, to do the hypnosis. You may have actually already been doing a lot of that, which is where all of this clarity is defining from. And so you can absolutely bet your bottom dollar that under this new moon, you are going to really feel like yes. You're going to have a lot of yes moments, like full body awareness, full body yes moments to things that you want, things that you're resonating with, things that you're aligning with. And I would definitely recommend finding time to either write it all out, to put a vision board together, to speak it into existence, however you need to do that. If you have a coven of people that you can be like, I'm going to do this. Coven is my language. It could be any kind of person, or just buddy, or somebody that you trust to hold space and actually celebrate and honor and respect your visions, and won't be like secretly hating them like as soon as you leave the room, because fuck that energy. That this is the time for that. And I see you actually being in rooms of people that light you up. I see you being around good energy. I say good, but you know what I mean, like high vibes. I see you just communicating with a lot of people. Here's the thing, words might trip you up. I had the Mercury retrograde dates wrong. My apologies. I'm not sure if that reading has gone up before this one, but whenever it goes up, the reading is still relevant. The dates are just inaccurate, but my words of wisdom is to go listen to that as soon as it's up. And just remember, like, there might be some foot and mouth moments where you come off a little rude, or you sound a little snappy, or a little bit sharp, or whatever, and you didn't really mean to, and that's okay. I think there's going to be a lot of grace. I think there's going to be a lot of like forgiveness and understanding, especially as you're doing that for yourself, giving that to yourself. It's easier to do that for others, because the people that you're going to be surrounded by and just having in your environment are really, I want to just say, like, heart-led, heart-intentioned people. So here's my last little thing for you is, like, don't be afraid of the woo-woo. Don't be afraid of the mysticism that you're stepping into. This is where shit gets magical, all right? 1111, make a wish, honey. That's the magician. So don't close yourself down now, okay? Allow yourself to remain in this beautiful mindset that you were in so strongly before eclipse season came, to be like, triggered. Here are things to make you feel down, bring your vibrational frequency back to life, or back to, well, you know, hey, back to reality a little bit, and show you, like, hey, there's still things we can evolve. There's still things that need improvement. There's still things that need releasing, refining, letting go. You're gonna need the divine's help in this, and so on and so forth. But you cannot completely just close your eyes, turn away, completely stay away from the magic that you've been working so hard to cultivate within yourself, within your reality. It might get a little bit wonky and weird, but now is not the time to turn away from that. Be curious, stay open-minded, stay open-hearted, because we are about to work collectively on a soul star level that I am, like, so excited for. Like, I feel it, okay? And you've been working on, like, you know, wearing the crown, that crown center energy, feeling your self-worth. Baby, do not tilt your head yet, okay? Do not try to close down your eyes so much that your crown slips off and you're no longer thinking and seeing clearly anymore, okay? Remember all of that self-worth, self-love, beautiful lessons that you were feeling in your core of core and your truth of truths. Come back to that state so that you can keep moving that energy upward into your soul star and really connect to your star power, because I think this year is it for you, babe. It's it, where things start to really make motion, the motion of the ocean, honey. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. This was a super long reading. I am so not sorry though, because I really wanted to give you guys something groovy and something intentional and powerful to work with this new moon. And yeah, I'm sending you all my lovin'. I'll talk to you soon.